There are few guarantees in life. Some of those guarantees are death, taxes, and Dana White getting into fights with reporters. Dana is someone who does not like to share details of the business, and especially not with MMA journalists.
Last one for Dana. Obviously, a big story here is the flyweights, right? We're talking about it a lot. You're being asked about it a lot. Why hasn't the UFC come out and just said, it's on the line, it's not on the line, just so everyone knows and doesn't have to keep speculating?
Because I said we'll find out on Saturday. We'll see.
So you know the answer to the question.
Ariel Helwani is seen as the best journalist in all of MMA. Part of the reason he has this reputation is because he is not afraid to ask the tough questions. At this time, the flyweight division was at risk of being cut if TJ Dillashaw were to defeat Henry Cejudo. In this clip, Dana was reluctant to give an answer and Henry had to chip in his 2 cents on the situation.
Your answer, sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't give an answer.
But do you know the answer to that question? If Henry wins, does it survive?
I don't know.
You know what? With all due respect, Dana, with all due respect, you did at one point say that they will never enter in the sport of MMA. Ronda Rousey became one of your biggest superstars. Let's make a deal. I beat this man Saturday night. The flyweight division stays.
We'll see what happens on Saturday.
Why are you reluctant to make that deal? Just out of curiosity, why not just come out and say it?
I answered the question. That's the answer to the question.
So, Aaron, you're becoming the Oprah of MMA. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. You're good.
The look on Dana's face after Henry tells Ariel he is becoming the Oprah of MMA tells it all. Dana is ducking the question in this. He fully understands what the reporter is talking about.
You're a bitch.
Hey, man, you don't have any brain cells left, man. You should
Nothing
probably
but a
stop
bitch.
talking,
Shut
man.
the
You sound
fuck
so
up.
illiterate over there.
Shut the fuck up. No brain cells talking about people's family.
All right, I'm going to take 2 more questions. You're up.
This is for you, Dana. All right, so there's something interesting happened in the lightweight division. Obviously, Gaethje or Chandler are going to want that shot, whoever wins. But Islam Makhachev, he wants a shot too. Now, he's Khabib's protege. Will he get the so-called Dana White privilege? And have you consulted Khabib on this? If so, and what was your last conversation like?
Is that my question?
That's to you, Dana.
What did you ask me? I heard Dana White privilege. That's all I heard.
This is a privilege that plenty of fighters in the past have had. Just ask Holly Holm or Michael Chandler. As history has had it, it turns out this was not BS from the reporter. Later that year, Islam went on to receive the title shot despite being ranked lower than both Justin and Chandler.
Will Islam Makhachev get the so-called Dana White privilege over Gaethje or Chandler for the lightweight title?
What the fuck does that even mean? I don't even fucking understand what that means. That sounds like some bullshit to me.
It might be, but...
This reporter must be forgetting who he is talking to. Unfortunately for Islam, he is not the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
It's a fair question. Have you talked to Khabib about it?
Is Islam getting the next shot at the title? Is that the question?
Over Gaethje or Chandler, whoever wins. Because one of them are going to want it.
He's ranked number 2 in the world. Right. He's going to... What are you, 5? 2 and 5?
4.
2 and 4 are fighting on Saturday.
But he says they've already had their shots, so...
We don't care what he says. We don't care what he says. Saturday night, me and Justin Gaethje get after it. We're the number 1 contender. It's a number 1 contender fight.
And just lastly for me, Dana, I just want to ask you quickly, it's the first time we've seen you since the massive merger news with WWE. I'm just curious, your thoughts on that massive deal. And I guess, fans are trying to figure out what it means to them. How will it impact the UFC and the fans?
I'd rather not talk about that right now. We could talk about that another time. But yeah, obviously, it's exciting for the company and everything else. But this is about these guys right now, not that.
It's hard to disagree with Dana here. He's trying to promote a pay-per-view with some of his biggest stars, and the reporters are asking questions to take attention away from the event. He has a fight between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira and Jorge Masvidal as his co-main event, but the questions being asked are about a WWE merger.
I have one more question for Jorge. Jorge, yesterday at the hotel, there appeared to be a run-in between yourself and Kevin Holland. I was curious, what was that about?
Absolutely nothing. You know, there's nothing to talk about there. It's just some dick riding, cloud chasing bitch, you know, so ain't nothing to talk about.
Nah, that's not what you were saying yesterday, bro. Watch your fucking mouth.
Kevin, I'm curious, what is the issue there?
I called him baby
Wait, what's
girl
the
and he got
question?
mad.
Guys, come on. These two aren't even fighting. Knock it off.
All right, okay.
Do you have a question about the fight, who these guys are fighting, or you just want to start shit in here? What's your question?
This is what MMA journalists do. They try to instigate beef in order to push their own brands and to get viral clips. It's incredibly selfish, but that's what we've come to with MMA journalists. The quality of the press conferences has gone down over the years, and the reason is because MMA journalists continue to ask terrible questions.
Yeah.
Cool. And if Dana will let me, I was gonna ask if we can get a little bit of.
Don't even ask, bro. Don't even ask. Don't get me in trouble.
You got it, man. Good luck on Saturday. And I'll ask you, given what we know about what happened yesterday, do you think that Kevin's focus isn't entirely on you? And do you think that if he's looking past you, it'll really...
Don't even answer that question.
No worries.
And question for the Trailblazer, Kevin Holland. WWE, UFC merger, one umbrella. Past or present, professional wrestling. If you could take one person with the steel chair to the skull, who would it be? Or UFC fighter, wrestling ring.
While most MMA journalists struggle with what they do, there are some who ask very fun questions. Dana does not like the questions, but the Schmo always brings a unique style to MMA journalism that allows him to separate himself from the rest of these journalists. I love this question, and I am willing to bet that everyone on the stage, including Dana, has a person in mind.
No comment. I'm trying not to get in trouble.
Thank you. Any other stupid?
Seems like, and maybe this is a good thing, but there's this veil of secrecy around Ronda. Like no one really knows much about her, which maybe is a promotional plan, right? I mean, like...
Well, it's not a promotional plan. Ronda wanted to disappear for a year. She worked real hard for this company for a long time, really helped build the sport, helped get the women where they are today, and she wanted to disappear for a year. And I said, that's fine.
You laughed when the number 8% of revenue was going to the athletes, when that number was thrown on the table.
I didn't laugh. It pissed me off.
Okay, it pissed you
like,
off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, sometimes laughter is anger. Like
right, no doubt about it. That was anger.
Like, so what? Scoffed. You scoffed at that number. So what would be?
Yeah, what I said was, I hope they're talking about Conor when they say 8% of the revenue is going to the fighters. I'm sure they meant Conor. You know, first of all, that guy that said it is a really bad guy. Really bad guy. Ask anybody. I mean, not only in the mixed martial arts business.
You're talking about Bjorn Rebney, right?
Bjork, yeah.
Bjorn Rebney has a very poor reputation in the combat sports world. He is formerly the owner of Bellator MMA. Just ask Dan Lambert of American Top Team what he thinks of him. Bjorn was screwing over American Top Team's athletes for a year. Whenever fighters wanted out of their contract, he would refuse this. This is what happened with the Ben Askren situation. Everyone believes Dana was the reason Ben did not go to the UFC when he was in his prime, but the biggest reason was because of Bjorn.
So, one of the classiest legends ever in the sport of boxing. Intelligent guy, super classy, Sugar Ray Leonard. Ask him what he thinks of Bjork and what type of a person he is. You know you're a bad guy when you get chased out of boxing and you got to go to another sport. He got bought out because of his company and MMA, because the network couldn't stand him because he's a bad guy.
So what would you put the number at if it's not 8%?
Lorenzo put the number out there before. And our numbers line up with sports our size.
What numbers did Lorenzo
Major League
put out
Soccer,
there?
You know, sports our size. This company, this sport, you can really look at the sport.
Why are you not giving me a number?
Has been here for 16 years.
No, but
because what I won't do is give you an inaccurate number.
Right, but you said, you said Lorenzo put a number.
So
what number did he put?
Do your homework. You're a friggin' reporter.
Okay.
The best defense is a good offense in this case. Landsberg is trying to figure out what the number is, and Dana surely knows what it is. Instead, he turns the gun on Landsberg by saying he should do his research. Nobody can duck questions quite like Dana White.
Do your homework. Hey, if you're going to ask me that question, do your homework.
So what, like I'm a lawyer and you never ask a question you don't know the answer?
Reporter.
I asked the question.
You are a reporter.
No, but I'm more interested now in why you wouldn't give the number as opposed to what the number is. Because the number that Lorenzo puts out, to be honest with you, isn't necessarily the number. I'm not calling him a liar, but people a liar at all. But people negotiate. Like if you hear the numbers, if Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the National Hockey League, puts out a number, it doesn't mean that that number is 100% correct. It means that's the number that he wants people to hear. I mean, that's business, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you one thing that you don't do in the fight business. You don't lie about stuff like that, okay? Because first of all, Lorenzo was always the numbers guy in the company. Always handled all the numbers and did all that. He sat down for an hour and 30 minutes with ESPN, grilling him. Lorenzo slapped them around in that interview. Everything they said, he had the answer for, and he nailed it. You know what I mean? I don't know the exact number right now. If I did, I would tell you. Okay. The numbers were never my thing.
If the phone...
Okay? And right now we have a CFO. We have a new CFO. And if I had the number, I'd give it to you. But if you're going to ask me that question as a reporter, you should have went out and looked that up. Because it's out there.
But I didn't intend to ask you that. As a reporter, well, not really a reporter, as an interviewer, I listen to your answers, and then I go, okay, well, what is that number? As opposed to I came in here. If I knew the number, I would have said it. I was just following up on what you said, which I think is legit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
you knew you were going to ask me that question.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh, you're such a genius. That one just came off the top of your head, and you know the bright, intelligent interviewer that you are. That thing just went right off the top of your head.
Interesting that you have tried to do good defense with a good offense, which is okay. I don't remember the numbers, so I'm going to challenge Landsberg.
I don't know the exact number. So
This is brilliant stuff from Landsberg. He called out exactly what Dana did, as we mentioned before, but pointing the finger at Landsberg by saying he should have done his research. He finally got Dana to admit that he does not exactly know what the number is.
I would never say it unless I absolutely positively knew what the number was.
What happens if Bjork called you on the phone and one of your very talented staff that we deal with all the time said, hey, Bjork's on the phone. Would you take the call?
Sure. But he's got no reason to call me. Why would that guy call me?
Well, only because he's now running the association, right? Oh, yeah. Or he's involved in the association. So it is potential that he would call you. I'm not justifying, I'm not saying he's anything that you've described him as. Like, I'm not saying he's not that. But there is a world that he would pick up the phone and call you because you would have...
I doubt it. He and I have been in the same business for a while now. He's never picked up the phone and called. He's a bottom feeder. That's what that guy is. He's a bottom feeder. He's a guy that he's not out to make any real deals. The guy's out to make money. And I say this all the time about the fighters. And when they ask me about unions or associations, these guys are grown men and women. They can do whatever they want to do. And as a fighter, there's a lot of people that are trying to put their hands in your pocket. Be careful whose hand you let go in your pocket, right. especially a guy like that. And I think that's the major mistake this association made is having this guy be involved. It just it blows all credibility of what you say you're trying to do. And the thing in the past used to be, let's start an organization. We'll go out and we'll compete against the UFC. The new thing is now, let's start an association or a union. There's 3 of them out there, right? And all 3 claim to be out for the best interest of the fighters. They're all fighting with each other. They're suing each other. They're hitting each other with cease and desists. It's hilarious.
Have you spoken to John Jones? Because
I have not.
Okay. Any reason in particular?
John Jones isn't fighting till this summer. Yeah.
So if I asked you how he's doing, then it would be impossible to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
UFC 206 in Toronto tomorrow night, and the preliminaries on TSN. That's why it says UFC Sports Center, TSN, Dana White.
Pleasure.
We shake hands or do we tap?
Oh, whatever. We can do both.
Dana White does not have a good relationship with most reporters. He likes when he can dictate the questions, and when Dana is not the one in control, it frustrates him. In Dana's eyes, these reporters are beneath him, and when he gets challenged by someone he perceives as less than him, it causes him to go into rage mode. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and like the video.